What's up, everybody? Welcome to the best corner of the worst community in all of the internet, that being the Blue Corner. I am joined today for this UFC 295 wrap up with Hendrix, as always,
Yo, what's good, everyone?
and MMA protagonist.
Yo, what's up?
All right. Um, Yesterday was 295. We thought that it was going to be a little bit of maybe not like a snooze fest, but we didn't, the average fan probably didn't know that many people on this card, but it wound up being one of the craziest cards of the year, in my opinion. And we're gonna jump right into the main event: Pereira versus Prohaska. And what everybody wants to talk about is, was it an early stoppage? What do you think, Hendrix? I almost called you Benil.
I get that a lot, look exactly like him. I'm ironic, But I think initially watching it, I was like, that's kind of like a little iffy, but I think the replay gave a lot of context for it, in my opinion. Like if you act like imagine yourself in Mark Goddard's place. I mean, Yuri gets dropped by that hook and then goes in, gets elbowed in the head 100 times, and then sinks back into mount. It's like, bro, I don't know. I don't see how differently it would have gone other than Alex throwing like maybe a couple more punches in mount and it getting stopped either way. So I feel like Mark Goddard, he's probably getting a lot of shit for this. And I think he was the guy that ref the Sean O'Malley Aljo fight and the first Izzy Pereira fight. So he probably has a lot of like, ooh, you're an early stoppage kind of guy, aren't you? But I think he just genuinely cares about these fighters. And with a lot of his stoppages, it just seems like it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. So he might as well save a few years off their life.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Protag?
I did think initially that it was an early stoppage, but at the same time, MMA fans are going to complain either way because let's say you replace Mark Goddard with Herb Dean and he just let the fight go and Yuri Prohaska just gets elbowed into the canvas. Then everybody would be like, late stoppage, why didn't he stop the fight kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't mind the stoppage. After Yuri fell to his back after going in for that takedown, I was like, yeah, that's all right.
Mm-hmm. I know a fair amount of people that like bet on Yuri Prohaska, and so they're upset. But absent them, I think that ultimately, like, I saw a crowd cam where somebody was like recording the finish, and the way that Yuri fell, like some his legs didn't look right. It looked like he was moving a little bit weird. It's also a weird thing to do, to like fall backwards into mount. Maybe he was trying to like fall in a way where he's like trying to lift Pajeda so he can like backdoor maybe.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, the outcome, like, usually when people complain about late stoppage or early stoppages, they're complaining because the fight might have taken a different turn. Usually they're saying, like, hey, Aljamain Sterling, if he would have got back up, he would have been fine, and you know what I mean, that kind of thing. Or even like Izzy Pajeda, because that's the other one that you said, like, if even if that was a 10-8 round, if Izzy survived that round, it would have been a draw.
Yeah.
So like, I understand getting upset at that, but when you're in round, one, and you're limping on your leg already, you're getting dropped in round two, like, you're getting mounted. I don't really think it changed, but I do think that the fact that you are Yuri Prohaska, he wants to go out on his sword. He wants to go
Exactly.
out on his katana, you know. Exactly. So, but are you guys convinced that Pejeda's the best light heavyweight right now?
I'll let you answer this first.
Mm, I honestly can't say he is the best light heavyweight, but him in the light heavyweight division makes it a lot more interesting. Brings a lot more eyes to the light heavyweight division, which means a lot more fighters will need to get their name out there. So they're going to want to fight Pereira. So I won't say he's the best. I think the best is probably Magomed Ankalaev, but his fight IQ is just not there.
Yeah.
For me, I do not think Alex is the best light heavyweight on earth. I think he's the needed shakeup that this division's been needing for a long time. But I will say, in my opinion, we can say it was a title fight, but in my opinion, both the co-main and the main were interim title fights because next year, 2024, I'm gonna paint you a picture. Alex Pereira, he's gonna defend this belt, and then Jamal Hill is gonna come back and take his belt back. Because if
Mm,
we take fight IQ into account, skill for skill, fight IQ, everything, in my opinion, Jamal Hill is the best light heavyweight, and I think he beats Fury. I think he beats Alex. I think he beats Magomed. Throw any light heavyweight at him, I think Jamal Hill beats them.
nice. Nice. I can't necessarily say I disagree with you. I mean, I think that Pereira is a weird one because I mean, for Jamal Hill. I think that Jamal Hill can like stop the takedowns and then be better at striking than anybody except for maybe Pereira. Like, I think that Jamal Hill definitely can outstrike Magomed for free. He maybe gets taken down a couple times on Magomed, but like, I think that he can outstrike him and win. And then I think that especially if Magomed does something stupid, obviously like Johnny Walker is yeah, well, yeah. And then we have we already saw that. But with Pereira, it's like I don't know how good Jamal Hill's offensive wrestling is. And I
Hmm.
do know that if they strike with each other, like I mean, I don't know how that goes. It's probably closer than the Yuri fight, but I mean, those leg kicks are just cheating. Like that's just that's just a cheat code.
Yeah, the leg kicks are definitely open for Pereira. And for Jamal, the jabs are open because Pereira has a very open guard. He keeps his hands pretty low, and Jamal Hill is really good with his jab. If he can build off of
Mm-hmm.
that, he can probably beat Pereira.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed, but like, of course, Yuri was playing with the angles a lot in this fight. And I don't know if you noticed, but there was that moment when he tried to throw the same thing Adesanya threw at Alex. And since this seems to be a consistently open thing against Alex Pereira, I think Jamal Hill, since you already touched on the jab, I feel like Jamal Hill, if anyone's going to be able to capitalize on that, it is him.
Yeah, we saw Yuri kind of shit on Jamal Hill by saying like, "Oh, like his style's very simple. He has a very simple style." And I'm like, "Dude, Yuri, calm down. Like, I know that you like throw a bunch of crazy stuff and you have cool knockouts and stuff like that, but it's like, there's nothing wrong with fundamentals, man. There's nothing wrong with fundamentals. You can be the greatest of all time with just fundamentals, man. Like, it's not you can, you know what I mean? It's more. I mean, if you know your weapons is better than like having a million weapons that you're halfway decent with,
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
I don't see that shit at all.
And I think one of the most underrated parts of Jamal Hill's game, and I think he'd be able to use pretty well against Alex Pereira, is his head movement. I think that's one thing that gets overlooked a lot. Like even if you look at the Glover fight, the way he was able to avoid almost anything Glover threw at him with his head movement, it's just amazing. So I feel like he could pressure Alex, and obviously, like there's been that question: can Alex fight good on his back foot? He showed he's pretty good off his back foot with counter strikes, but I feel like Jamal Hill, he'll be able to pressure him against the cage and use his head movement, be able to avoid the counter strikes, and use those counter strikes to open up his own counter strikes. And with how fast Jamal Hill is, with how hard he hits, like every time, the more I look at that matchup, the more it seems to swing in Jamal's favor for some reason.
Hmm.
Yeah,
One thing
I'm good.
I was gonna say, one thing I also noticed about Jamal Hill is how much he grows between each fight. Because if you look at his fight before he fought Glover, he looked nothing like he did. Like, who was it that he fought before Glover? Wasn't it
Tiago Santos.
yeah, Thiago Santos? Like the growth from that to the Glover fight was insane. It was like that's not even the same fighter anymore. That's probably the scariest part because I don't know how he's gonna look when he comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. And like because he showed against Johnny Walker, he showed that he can like capitalize against people like their defensive weaknesses. And then he showed that he could deal with somebody that's a better wrestler than him. And then he's showed that he can be perfect for 25 minutes, like against Glover, because like Glover is pretty good at on his feet. Like he's a little bit slower, kind of, but like he knows how to give you different looks. Like a lot of the striking I saw was just kind of it was very good at being random, and it didn't phase him at all. If he's better than somebody in the striking, it feels like he's going to win 100% of the time. He's not like I don't see him getting caught by somebody that's worse than him at striking.
Yeah. And one thing about Jamal, um, one thing about Glover and Tiago is they're both very hard hitters, as that's well known. And I mean, it could be unfair to say because his chin hasn't really been that tested. From what I've seen, it looks like Jamal Hill also has a chin of iron, so that's just another plus in the column right there for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But I do want to say that like, Pereira wins, he gets on the mic and he's like, Israel Adesanya rescued me from the couch because he pulled me off the couch because he said that like I gave him an opportunity, he gave me an opportunity or whatever, and so I'm gonna return the favor by taking Izzy off the couch and saying, "Come fight me, Adesanya, come to daddy." I'm like, dude, okay, so that was sick. There is no earthly possibility whatsoever that like because he's been working more than maybe any UFC champion in history, like three, 4 fights a year, and for like years and years and years. And then he's 2 months into like the vacation of his life. He's like absolutely chilling, has his feet up. Like 2 months later, it's like, hey, do you want to, drink 15 protein shakes a day and like get up to 205 and maybe get knocked out by me again? Like it's a huge ask, and I guarantee you he's just like, hey man, maybe in 5 years. Like not
Craziest thing is that now Israel Adesanya is talking about he beat Alex Pereira one time, but
Oh yeah.
him saying Alex Pereira beat him one time was the reason Alex Pereira came to MMA in the first place.
Yeah, because he saw, I mean, everybody's trying to turn it into like this big L from Izzy because now Izzy's on the couch. I'm like, yeah, but he's on the couch because he's done, like not because like I don't know. I do think that Izzy, okay, the thing that he posted on Twitter where it was a picture of Pajeda like like with the Elsa hair and it said "Let it go." Did he post that before or after Pajeda's speech? Is my question.
I think he posted it after.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think it was
good.
a
After the
rebuttal
speech.
to him.
Good, because people are calling him the "Hey, I knocked that guy out one time" guy, like like the guy that's like bringing up the glory days. I'm like, well, I mean, if he's responding to the speech, then he's saying like, I'm good, I'm chilling, I don't need to come fight you again. But if he posted that beforehand, that would have been the worst look in the entire world. Just like, hey guys, remember this? That would have been rough.
It's like John Jones coming out of retirement to talk about somebody after every light heavyweight win.
Yeah, just every single, even like fight nights,
Yo.
like just hey, no, not that wouldn't have worked against me. But speaking of John Jones, I don't know if he has anybody seen him recently because I feel like he might be, off the grid at this point after seeing what Tom Aspinall has done.
I think he's in his bunker right now with his shotgun, just hiding out in New Mexico.
Oh, dude.
What do you think, Protag?
I think Tom Aspinall could definitely beat John Jones. So yeah, he's probably hiding out.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that I haven't seen much of John Jones striking at heavyweight, because we know how good he is at light heavyweight, but with all that extra weight on him, like, how's that striking really look at heavyweight? We don't know. Cyril Gane didn't really drag the fight out long enough to show us.
Yeah. We know that he can take a groin shot, I guess.
Oh, yeah, he still got it, baby. He can take shots to the dick.
People talk about his chin, but they don't. Anyways,
Whoa.
yeah. You know, you'd think with all the steroids. Anyways, I think that like, so I had Aspinall winning because he's fast. I was like, he's fast. He's going to be in and out, and he's going to like kind of pot shot him from the outside, and he's only going to engage on his terms. And since Sergey has to react to him coming in and out, meanwhile, Tom Aspinall knows when he's coming in and out because he's about to do it. Like, Tom has the advantage. He's too fast. Heavyweights in general are too slow to really deal with that. It's a really hard thing to do unless like you're a literal, I mean, I don't even know what you'd really do to beat. I have to be like level maybe.
I mean, on the feet, maybe Cyril Gane could probably compete with him, because he's also one of the heavyweight fighters people said moves like a welterweight. He's really good on the feet. He knows how to keep his feet moving. But it's just, my thought process on Tom Aspinall was, I thought he was going to take Sergey down. I thought he was going to take him down and throw ground and pound and knock him out that way. What happened, I didn't expect at all.
Bro, I don't know what it is, but there's just like there's certain fighters where you just look at them, you can't imagine them being knocked out for whatever reason. It's just that aura that they have. And Sergey Pavlovich, he was one of those, even though technically got TKO'd by Alistair Overeem. It's just he's not one of those guys where I can see someone one-shotting him or something like that. But
Yeah.
especially after his chin's been tested, like against Tai Tuivasa, who's one of the hardest hitters in heavyweight, hit him perfectly on the chin, and this man didn't even flinch. I'm like, okay, who's knocking this guy out? And then that perfect 1-2 comes. I see those knees buckle, and I'm like, holy shit, this is the best heavyweight on the planet. Jesus Christ.
Not even Tai Tuivasa. He walked through a shot from Derek Lewis too. Like, he walked right through it like it didn't even affect him. So what Tom Aspinall did was like eye-opening to me. I was like, no way this just happened.
Yeah. I think that he just like, it's one thing to, because he's also taking big shots from Curtis Blades, and he was just trading with him like it was nothing. And I think it's because he did kind of see them coming to a certain extent, and he was able to brace for him and stuff like that. With Tom, it was like, oh, okay, you're on the other side of the octagon, so I'm good. Oh, I just got hit, and like that just kind of like caught him off guard. But also, Tom does hit absurdly hard. Marcin Tybura somewhere like, dude, y'all need to stop talking about me, man. Like,
Bro.
And the way Tom Aspinall moves, he doesn't move like anybody else that Sergey had fought up to this point. Like, everybody else that Sergey fought was all plotters. They all got to plant their feet before they throw a big strike. So with Tom Aspinall, it was like Sergey couldn't really gauge when he was going to come in and out. He didn't know. So he was just like trying to guess when to throw his shots. And every time he threw something, Tom Aspinall was either moving his head out the way or completely gone from his sight. So,
Bro, and it was just interesting because I came in with the mindset, because those who don't know, I picked Sergey Pavlovich. And one thing that led me to it was Tom always keeping his chin in the air. So I was like, okay, Sergey, people talk about the speed of Aspinall, but like Sergey's fast too with his hands. So I'm like, okay, he can time something. He can get him on the chin. He can rock him. And if he rocks him, he's going to jump on him like he does to most people. And then he hurts Tom, but he's not able to jump on him because Tom Aspinall does the little Michael Jackson bam back up. And it's like, damn, who is this guy?
yeah.
It's just, I've never seen anyone make Sergey question himself like that. Because like even when Sergey had him hurt, it's like you could tell Sergey didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it went well. Like, the thing was, I was talking about his speed, and I was talking about his hands, and I was talking about all of that, and I still underestimated him. Like I mean, that was just insane. And then the fact that he also has the grappling. So even if somebody is able to deal with him on the feet, which I don't even think anyone can, I feel like if that was like if he just kickboxes with anybody in the division, he wins. And then he has like some of the best grappling in the division. Allegedly, I've only seen him get a couple of submissions, but still, he might have like some of the best grappling in division too. It's just like, what is anybody gonna do?
Yeah,
Right.
and I think the most interesting part about the John Jones matchup is not only the fact that we have like probably the most complete heavyweight in the world going against John at the moment, so he can't just grapple him to death, but also it's like John's boxing defense has never been good, and what it looks like if your boxing defense is even a little bad, Tom Aspinall is gonna find the mark on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a breakdown video coming for that tomorrow. I've already got it all complete for
Oh,
Tom
sick.
Aspinall and Sergey Pavlovich. It's like after
Yeah.
I watched the fight, it was like, whoa, okay, now I see what Tom saw in the fight. And I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
Dude, when I saw him like doing the Matrix, I was like, God damn. Because I picked Aspinall and I was like, he's gonna get knocked out, isn't he? Like, I can't believe he's gonna get knocked out. I can't believe that he's like trying to like style on him like for fun. No, he was actually styling on him, it turns out. As it turns out, no, he thought he was good enough to do that, and he was.
And apparently he was injured coming into this fight.
Yeah,
Had a
he had a
back
back
injury. So you're
injury.
telling me this dude wasn't at 100% and he knocked out Sergey Pavlovich? What?
Bro, and everyone was talking about the excuses he was making beforehand. So they're like, oh, he's scared of Sergey. He's terrified. Bro, if
Mm-hmm.
that's him when he's scared, I don't want to see him when he's confident.
Exactly.
Everybody that's watching this, you need to apologize to Michael Bisping because apparently he was saying nothing but facts this entire time.
Yep.
Okay, Michael Bisping got this bias. Okay, maybe it's true with other people, but if anything, he was downplaying.
Real.
Yeah.
Michael Bisping, he has his two like little guys he was right about, Leon Edwards and Tom Aspinall, and he can just have them in his shoulders and be like, hey, we did this.
They got more champions than Russia now. That's crazy. Oh God. All right. You know what? Now okay, so I did get this one wrong. I did get Jessica Andrade and Mackenzie Dern wrong, and boy did I get it wrong. Good Lord, did I get it wrong.
Me too. I did not expect Mackenzie Dern to have her chin in the air while she was striking. After I saw that, I was like, yeah, she's probably going to get knocked out.
I think Jessica Andrade is tired of losing. She
Oh, yeah.
just said like, nah, no more of this.
I thought Mackenzie, like, she'd probably strike with her just a little bit, but only like to set up her grappling. And I was like, okay, when she sets up the grappling, it's basically over. That was my mindset. But then Jessica just started denying every takedown. I was like, oh no. And then Jessica, like, she wasn't really throwing that much. And I was like, what is she doing? And then every time she does throw, it just kills her. And I'm like, oh, so this girl's gone crazy. She's done losing.
If Jessica can just if she can just keep working on her takedown defense, honestly, she can beat anybody because if your name isn't Zhang Wei Li, you cannot trade with her at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe Yang John on, but like, I mean, the best of the best. And even then, I feel like maybe she could wrestle her if she actually tried. Like, when I think of Jessica Andrade, I think of the one that we saw. Like, when I think of Jessica Andrade, I think of denying takedowns, being a good grappler, and like knocking people down every time you touch them. That's what I think of. But we haven't seen that in a while, But I mean, I guess she's back. I guess she's back doing this.
She's also very active. I'm glad she won. I didn't want her to get cut from the UFC or anything. She belongs in the UFC.
Correct
Mm-hmm.
me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was her fifth fight this year. I
It's four
think
or five. Yeah, it's a lot.
It was her
she
fourth
got
fight.
Lauren Murphy. She got Aaron Blanchfield on short notice, which is crazy to do. She got Jean. She got that. Who was that one girl?
I
She
think
got
it lasts.
Smith.
Tatiana Suarez.
Yes, Tartiana, and then then Dern. damn, like 5 times in a year, even though she lost three of them, I mean, the fact that she consistently will take on anyone, and it's not like she was losing to scrubs, she was losing to some of the best women in the division. It's like if we can make a women's BMF belt, can we give it to Jessica Andrade?
Exactly.
That actually makes more sense because they go up and down through their weight classes all the time. That makes more sense to have a women's BMF, I feel.
Yeah, she's always going up and down. She's always fighting that straw weight, then flyweight, then back to straw weight again. Like if you need somebody to fight, she's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's still time to fight again. No, I'm joking. Maybe I don't know if she wants to do that just again in December, but she would. That's crazy. Okay. So now we're getting to Benoit Saint Denis. So I'm gonna go ahead and let CEO begin talking, and I'm gonna go get like some food or something.
So basically, Benoit Saint Denis, otherwise known as the greatest prospect in the UFC.
Oh my
Now,
god.
I don't know if any of you have had this feeling with any fighter, but have you, if any of you can relate with following someone their entire UFC career since their UFC debut and being like, you know what, win or lose, there's something special about them. And then you follow them, you follow them, and you follow them. And then finally, they seem to prove that everything you said about them was correct. That's how I feel about Benoit. Because in that fight with Dos Santos, when he came in, I believe, on short notice, he got his ass beat. I'll admit it. I'll be the first to say it. He got murdered. But what impressed me and what made me want to follow him was the fact that like there were like he'd still keep throwing back. Like the guy didn't fall. He's just kept standing, kept throwing back. I'm like, okay, this guy. I felt like Joey Diaz. You have to kill this motherfucker. And this guy represents Brooklyn. And I was like, okay, this guy's interesting. And then I heard he was moving down to lightweight, which I was like, all right, you're probably more built for lightweight with your size. And then he starts going on this streak where he finishes everyone before the third round. And I'm like, all right, this guy's a problem. He beats Bonfim in a fight where I told everyone, yo, if you're going to bet on anyone, bet on this guy. I don't know why he's the underdog.
He was the underdog for that fight because of what Bonfim did to Terrence McKinney.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that like, I mean, let's be, this is a tangent, but the name Bonfim has a lot of power and a lot of it doesn't come from him. And it, like, I'm not going to say that like he's getting carried by his brother necessarily, but I will heavily imply it and then move on.
Well, that name goes downhill now since the brother lost as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's wild. Oh, CEO lagged out.
Dang.
Let's see if he could. Yeah, it's
Oh,
all
we
right.
only
He's
got
the
like
editor,
3 minutes
so
left too.
mm-hmm. That's all right.
I feel him though with the how he felt about Benoit Saint Denis. I felt that with Ilya Taporia because when Ilya Taporia was about to fight Bryce Mitchell, everybody was saying Bryce is about to run through this dude and he doesn't have any grappling. It was like, have y'all not followed his career? He's literally been submitting people since he started. He just hasn't done it in the UFC yet. But I know he was good on the ground. So when he went and he demolished Bryce Mitchell, I was like, yeah, now y'all know.
That was one of those fights where I knew who Bryce Mitchell was and I didn't know who Ilya was. And so I was like, Bryce Mitchell, bet on him.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Help me
shoot,
catch you with
bro! I
my.
got
But dude, I thought that it was a pick 'em. I thought that Steamroller was a pick 'em. I thought that fight was just like right down the middle. Who knows what may befall us? No.
I'm about to
hey,
say, it, go ahead. Go ahead.
and I want guy, I want you to answer this question. Who was in every single lives telling everyone to put Benoit Saint Denis on the parlay? I want you to answer this real quick.
It was you,
Who was saying
Hendrix.
he's the lock of the card?
That was you, Hendrix.
Exactly. This guy is the boogeyman of his division, man. I mean, you have a great striker. You have some of the craziest toughness I've ever seen out of a guy. Like this guy's chin is unhuman. Great striking. I mean, his body kicks alone are vicious. Like the way he makes people fold on impact with those body kicks is just vicious. And the fact that he can out grapple Thiago Moises and demolish him on the ground and then knock out a
Did he lag out again?
Maybe. He's the editor, so it's fine. That he's just making work for himself. So
it's like we talking about upcoming special prospects, but we about to talk about Diego Lopez next.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, Diego Lopez won. Okay, whatever. Some people,
what was your opinion on that Diego Lopez fight?
I think Diego Lopez won. Whatever. Who cares? Yeah. Moving on.
Oh.
No. Okay. So I picked Pat Sabatini. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Ooh. Right. All right. So I got that one wrong. Yeah. It happens to the best of us. But yeah. Like I didn't see it in Diego Lopez, and I think that I'm not sure that okay. Diego Lopez has proven that he is going to be a like star in the division in some way, shape, or form. My thing is he going to be a star like Kevin Holland, who's one of my favorite fighters, but we don't really expect him to get anywhere near the top of the division? Or is he going to like destroy everybody all the way to the top? And we have some people that are even like, like Matt Brown and stuff like that, where they're even, they maybe aren't even ranked and they're still like, destroying everybody down there. And I'm like, no matter what, obviously it's going to be hype. It's going to be cool. He's going to have cool fights. Everybody's going to enjoy it. But how good is he actually? But yeah, I just don't know. I just didn't know where he was going to fit in the division. Maybe I underestimated him. Maybe I overestimated Pat Sabatini. Who can say? But either way, yeah, obviously Diego Lopez is cool. Where do you guys see him in 3 years, 5 years?
First, no, I don't think you overrated Pat Sabatini. He's 100% going to be a top featherweight soon, I think it was. But I do think getting Mavzar as your debut opponent and you nearly finishing him multiple times already shows what you're capable of. But then you going and finishing your next two opponents like that, he's definitely going to be at the top of the division, if not champion one day.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think you were underestimating Diego. I don't think you were overrating Pat Sabatini. Like everything you said, Pat is very, very good. I think he'll be a top featherweight one day. And Diego, at the end of the day, he hasn't been tested like that up until this point because it's like he had the short notice fight with Mosvar, but it's like there's a lot more than meets the eye with that fight, I think, because Mosvar wasn't on a full camp either. I mean, Bryce Mitchell was supposed to fight someone, then that person pulled out. So Mosvar came in to fight Bryce Mitchell, and then Bryce Mitchell pulled out, and that's where they got Diego Lopez. So it's like neither men were on a full training camp, neither men were 100% prepared, and Mosvar in general has never been the most impressive featherweight to me. Like, of course, he's undefeated. He keeps winning, but at the same time, it's like he's not a guy who I see being the top of the division type thing. He's just like he seems like a lower ranking squatter for the rest of his career. In Diego, he did good, he got some submissions, had some close calls there, but like other than that, there wasn't much. Like he wasn't close to winning the fight that much. I think people just got into the whole Rocky story, the whole underdog story. People fall in love with that. And then he comes back with a full training camp and gets that early submission. I think people just got really invested with that. And I guess it seemed to play off, though, because he seems to be the real deal from what it seems.
Yeah. I mean, my thing was that Diego Lopez also lost his Contender Series fight. So I'm like, okay, we have an L and we have an L to Movsar, who I don't like hype up that much. And I go back and I watch the fight and I'm like, okay, he's really, really aggressive and that's cool. Like you're gonna have some success if you're like nonstop aggression. And then we have him like flying triangle somebody. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but it's like I haven't seen a lot of really, really, really good, I don't know, solid fundamentals out of him yet. But I mean, I guess they're there. He just hasn't been able to show them yet.
One thing is, Mobsar did outstrike Diego Lopez, which is going to be a worry if he's going to get higher in the featherweight division, because the higher he gets, the better the strikers get.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
So that is going to be a big worry.
getting out striked by Mosvar is kind of crazy. I can't lie to you.
I also, and I think that I have a little bit of a bias because I am always doing my live streams. So I'm looking at it through the lens of my chat a lot of times. And they will do this thing where it's like, hey, have you seen that super sick Russian? And I'm like, which one? Like, because he is. That's my computer. Hold on. Okay, we're good. My chat will do this thing where it's like, you know, oh, this dude is so sick. He's from Russia, and I'm like, which guy are you talking about? They're like, he has one eye. It's so sick. And I'm like, dude, okay. And they'll be like, oh, there's this dude named Patty Pimblett who has weird hair, and I'm like, guys, why are we hyping people up because of like stuff like that? I'm just not worried about it. But like, and so I thought that's what was happening with Diego Lopez because everybody was making the "tonight will be the night that I will fall for you" jokes. And I was like, okay, I see this. This has happened a million times. It's happening again. But
I
Yeah.
was one of the people making those memes too.
absolutely. Even though it's not emo hair, it's like a mullet with like shaved sides, and then he has the bangs. It's really
Oh,
interesting.
I saw somebody tweet, "Who should Diego Lopez fight next?" And the first comment under it was his barber. Happy goal.
That's fire. I love that. So we made it to the main card. I'm gonna play a little game. Okay. So I'm gonna say somebody who has fought on this card, and I want you guys to tell me who you think they should fight next. Okay.
Okay.
So we're starting at the bottom. Who should okay, we can skip Pat Sabatini. Who's who's fighting? Who do you think that Diego Lopez should fight next?
That's a little bit tricky, honestly, because even with that win, I'm not sure really where to gauge him at. Like, does he need a top opponent, top 15 opponent? Mm, does he need another test? Mm, it's a little tricky, especially with featherweight too, because first of all, what the heck is Brian Ortega doing? Why is he still even there?
Why are you talking about the number 3 ranked featherweight like that?
Because he shouldn't be there, and it would be, and the rankings would be a lot different if he were to leave.
Hey,
Yeah.
He would
you
just get
wanna
out
know?
there. He hasn't been active, and it would make it a lot easier for me to gauge where to put Diego Lopez.
Did you not see him beat the Korean Zombie 5 years ago?
You want to know a nice fun fact? And I had
Hmm.
to look this up to make sure it was true, but Habib Nurmagomedov has a more recent win than Brian Ortega, and Brian Ortega is still ranked number 3.
No way, for real?
Yeah, man, it's real.
Um, I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
I
Maybe.
like
Oh, go ahead.
he's too busy, like liking and retweeting a bunch of thirst traps on
I'm still
Twitter.
broken over
It's very
Tracy
hard.
Cortez.
How many Tracy Cortez wins has she had since Brian Ortega's last win?
I think two.
Don't.
Yeah.
But if he should get a top 15 opponent, I would say Diego Lopez should either fight. I think Lerone Murphy would be pretty good. You could really see who to push more. But if you don't want to ruin two very bright prospects, then maybe put him against Alex Caceres.
Oh, that'd
Because
be
Alex
crazy.
Caceres is going to test that striking of his.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know
Yeah, that would
what?
be crazy.
Who's a Neil Magny type of character for featherweight? Who's a guy who I can like? If you can't beat this guy, you're definitely not gonna make it top 15. But if you can, you might have a chance. I have an idea. Let's let him fight Cub Swanson.
That's fair. That's fair. Because I feel like, yeah, I mean, I also feel like whenever you have somebody like this for Diego Lopez, there's nothing wrong with giving him a couple winnable fights in a row, just kind of juicing him, let him kind of understand what the ebb and flow is of actually fighting in the UFC. Give him some experience while testing him a little bit to make sure that he doesn't have any weird like weight cut issues and stuff like that, and making sure that he's like reliable over time. So that way, whenever he does eventually fight like Bryce Mitchell, we already know that he can do this. He can do it consistently. If he doesn't have his shit together by then he's just not going to get it. Which eventually I want to see him fight Bryce Mitchell. I think that'd be insane. That'd be hysterical.
One thing I will say is keep Diego Lopez far away from Edson Barboza. That's all I got to say.
Oh,
Keep him far away from Edson Barboza. do not make that fight.
why?
Because, like I said, Alex Caceres would test Diego Lopez striking. Edson Barboza would probably knock him out pretty quickly.
But then think
Bro,
about the video you'd make on TikTok after that. Like, replaying all like the leg kick sounds and that'd be a good one though.
you get to yell knee a lot, I guarantee it.
Mhm.
Bro.
Okay, Benoit Saint Denis. Who do you want to see him fight next?
You want a real answer or a delusional answer?
Both.
Okay, so delusionally, give him Dustin Poirier. Dustin needs to fight low. Let it happen. Easy way to the top. Let's go. Okay, but on a real note, I say give him either the winner of Dan Hooker, Bobby Green, or if you want to like ease him in, give him Grant Dawson.
Okay.
That also would actually be a pretty good fight, honestly.
Mhm.
I would say since he just beat Matt Favola, I would say let him test the waters just a little bit more. Give him Renato Moicano.
Ooh, I've been
Oh.
I've been thinking about that fight for a while too. I can't lie to you.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, Moicano has a fight. Like that he said it on his YouTube. He's thinking about fighting somebody. Or they're in talks, but I don't know who it is.
I
But
hear
yeah, I feel like after that they might be like, hey, whoever he chose, he can chill for a bit.
I hear he's
That'd
been
be fun.
calling Jalen Turner recently, so I don't know if that's coming at all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I think Jalen Turner would definitely beat Moicano if that happens.
Maybe.
But yeah, I really I don't know how good Jalen Turner is. It's very difficult for me to tell how good he is.
Also, Moicano is a weird guy to like predict because on one hand, one night he's like the best lightweight on the planet, and the other he just sucks.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But it's like with Jalen Turner, I'm like, I need to see a normal fight. It's like it's always either he knocks somebody out immediately or he fights Dan Hooker who forgot what getting knocked out is, or he fights uh
Yeah,
Gamrot who is just constantly getting knocked down and then taking him down, and then like it's just I need to see Jalen Turner in a
And
normal
that fight
fight.
was short notice too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
That's
Forgot
weird.
about that.
I still don't know what Dan Hooker is made of. Because how the heck did he eat a head kick flush like that? Anybody else goes to sleep off of that. Anybody else.
for real. And also, I just need to know what he's made of. The fact that he was able to make featherweight with little issue. He like Jalen Turner, he missed weight in that fight with Dan Hooker, and I'm like, okay, yeah. And then they're like standing side by side, and I'm like, okay, so you missed weight for lightweight, but you made featherweight without problem. What is this man made of?
Bro, Jalen Turner is like almost the same size as Hamzat.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's a picture of me and him together, and like, I'm like 6'4", right? And he's like towering over me. It's wild. I don't know how how he did that. I blame it. It's a perspective thing, People were saying there were allegations that I'm like 5'8" or something like that. It was weird. But yeah, it like we at least I'll say we look the same size. I'll say we look the same size.
Yeah.
Um, but my answer to Benoit Saint Denis, I would like to see Dustin Poirier because I do think that Poirier, he's in a weird spot where he is a star. He's a real star, and for the rest of his life, he's probably just going to have hype fights. He's not going to have fights that he needs to do to climb the rankings and all of that. He's just going to have fun with it for the rest of his career. And Benoit Saint Denis is a really good one because not only is it a cool hype fight, but it's also, first of all, he's probably not going to get taken down. They're probably going to swing it out. And second, like in Poirier's mind, it's a very winnable fight.
Yeah, and also the thing with Benoit, and another reason I think the UFC is probably very happy that this happened, is Benoit to me is going to be very, very important for the expansion of the UFC in the European market. Like I just see him as a very marketable star for the European market. And tell me that Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis as the main event for a fight night in France would not go crazy.
Mm-hmm. They could do one of those things where they have a fight night that's really a pay-per-view for free. Because they do that sometimes where like a fight night is so stacked it's basically a pay-per-view, but it's in name only a fight night. And they have it in like a huge arena and everything else, but like the Shevchenko one,
Yeah,
the
that
Shevchenko
was
Grasso one.
amazing. That was
Mm-hmm.
an amazing fight night.
And also, in 20 days, Austin. That's all I'm gonna say.
Mm.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
I think sky's the limit for Benoit. To be honest with you, it all really just depends how fastly you want to shoot him up to the top.
Mm-hmm. What about Steamroller?
Oh, just let him fight Patty Pimlet if Patty Pimlet beats Tony. Just let it happen.
Hmm.
Mm.
Or maybe Jared Gordon. I don't know.
Give him the Terrence McKinney rematch. Let it be his revenge.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have any okay, I promise I'm not a misogynist, but I have no idea who Jessica Andrade should fight right now.
I don't know.
I like
This point,
I'm gonna look at the rankings right quick.
at this point, who
Amanda
hasn't?
Lemos, she's fought everybody above her except for Carla Esparza. I mean, she's fought her forever ago, but
I mean, maybe Carla Esparza wouldn't be that bad.
yeah,
I mean, you want to test her getting her takedown defense but a little better too. That could help.
that's true. That's true. Um,
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
Wait.
Wait, what?
He's cooking. Let him cook.
Okay, okay.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was like,
Okay.
wait, what is she ranked? Because I know she's ranked at strawweight, but not at flyweight. So it literally just depends which division she wants to fight in next. Because she jumps up and down all the time. So you can realistically pick a person from either one of those divisions.
Yeah, that's fair. That's true. And it's also she's in a weird spot because like I mean I think that a lot of people are going to come away from this as if Mackenzie Dern isn't as good as we thought she was, as opposed to Jessica Andrade just coming back. So she might have to get another mid fight before she actually goes all the way to the top. But we're moving on.
Wait, maybe Amanda Lemos is what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Since Amanda did just get absolutely thrashed by Zhang Wei Li.
Didn't she get? Yeah, she got arm triangled by her not too long ago. So I think that would be a pretty good rematch because like Amanda Lemos is very good, and I don't know that that's repeatable. You know what I mean? Like that Jessica Andrade is going to get that every single time, so that'd be a good one. You know. Um, but okay, so I feel like Tom Aspinall, we might have the same answer of as to who he should fight, but there's a difference between who he should fight and who he's gonna fight, right?
Oh,
Obviously, I think he needs to fight John Jones,
mhm.
but
Yes.
will it happen?
No,
Probably not.
Probably not.
no.
They're probably still going to make Jones versus Stipe, and then they're going to both going to retire after that fight.
Yeah,
Is
definitely.
anyone buying this, dude? I mean, not like purchasing it because everybody's going to purchase it. I'm saying, is anybody buying the idea that what needs to happen is Jones versus Stipe because Jones is the greatest of all time and Stipe is the greatest heavyweight of all time? Or do we need, I mean, for the championship at least? Because, like, I don't mind Jones fighting Stipe, but do we buy the fact that this is like the championship fight? To me, championships are for the people that are trying to fight the prospects.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the people that are like in there trying to fight people that are up and comers and stuff like that. And it's like, if you're going to, I don't remember the last time a champion has ever been like, hey, no, I'm only willing to fight one person and also wait 8 months for me.
Yep.
To me, that's why I'm viewing Tom Aspinall basically as the real heavyweight champion because the belt that John has is basically a prop for when he fights Stipe, and then he's going to retire, and Tom's going to be upgraded to real champion anyway.
Mm-hmm. He said he wanted to defend the interim belt, and it got a lot of uproar from a lot of people. But at the same time, if Tony Ferguson would have beat Justin Gaethje, that would have been an interim title defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's quite literally what that fight was for Tony.
Yeah. It takes a special kind of champion to be able to hold on to the belt without getting stripped for a long period of time, enough to where somebody could get the interim title and then defend it. And then it takes a special kind of interim champion to want to actually not sit on the couch.
Yeah.
So
where you at, McNugget?
yeah.
He didn't want no smoke with Prime Tony, and I understand.
That would have looked like a worse version of Connor Nate. That would have been a worse version of Connor Nate, by the way. It would have been Connor Nate, but like Nate is actually doing like a lot of damage in every hit.
It would have been like Connor Nate, except Nate is fighting back and not letting Connor use him as a punching bag.
Yeah.
Well, no, for like that first round, I do think Tony would have been a punching bag, but at the same time, I don't think he can keep up what Gaethje was doing to him for all 5 rounds. No.
And imagine getting,
Okay.
bro, he's gonna get elbowed. He's gonna get like, and imagine Connor shoots like he did against Nate. He's getting Darce choked immediately.
Immediately.
He wouldn't want no smoke with Tony on the ground.
No, absolutely not.
Honestly, Connor would have been in a world of trouble no matter who he defended it against, because at featherweight, he'd probably have to fight Max Holloway.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's also someone with a great chin, but his striking is also up there as well. So
yeah.
I see
Dude, this is a huge tangent, but I have a so like I have a series that's called What If, which is like where I just talk about where UFC history would have went if something would have happened. And I was thinking about doing one for Connor Aldo. Like, what if Aldo would have won? Not necessarily knocked out Connor in 13 seconds or whatever it was, but like if he would have won. And you know what would have happened? People
What?
today would consider featherweight to be the better division. Because today we consider lightweight to be a better division than featherweight, and featherweight's like full of a bunch of like, it's like, I mean, I guess like Volk beat like Korean Zombie and Volk beat Brian Ortega, I guess, and he beat Max Holloway. Max Holloway's good, but not that good. But like, if it was reversed, people would think about Max Holloway the way that people think about Charles Oliveira right now, and they would
Mhm.
think about Korean Zombie the way that maybe we think about like maybe Chandler or something like that.
Mhm.
The public perception would have been completely changed.
Yeah.
Oh, so who should fight Pavlovich next?
Um, you know what? I have an idea. So, Gon, Tom has like showed zero interest in fighting Gon because he's like, well, you didn't want to fight me, so now you have to get a fight. And everyone's talking about Almeida, which I understand why Almeida should be the one, but I honestly want them to rebook Almeida versus Blades, and you could do Sergey Pavlovich versus Cyril Gane.
I think Cyril Gane wins that. If you want Sergey Pavlovich to win again, or at least have a fight that'll make him work, I would say Pavlovich versus Volkov.
Ooh, that'd
Yo,
be hot.
wait a minute.
Just murder all that Volkov steam that he's been trying to
Hey,
build.
you
It,
guys want Volkov to have another chance of the belt? Psych, we lied.
yeah, psych. We want Pavlich more, so we're gonna. Yeah, but no, that would be awesome. I also think that Pavlovich Almeida would be pretty sick, but it does the same thing where it's like we have a lot of steam going forward, and it's like, do we want to, lose one hype train?
Man, heavyweight's actually getting exciting again. That makes me
Uh,
Bro,
happy.
Aaron said it best. It's the Renaissance period for heavyweights.
hmm Tyson Fury comes to UFC. That's what we do. Tyson Fury versus Pavlovich.
Oh
No,
no.
but but on a serious, because Pavlovich has never went for a takedown and he's never thrown a leg kick, so it's just the same.
That's why I
Yeah.
actually think Volkov would actually have a chance of beating Sergey, because Volkov is a kickboxer and
hmm
he throws leg kicks. And in the fight, every time Aspinall threw a leg kick, you could tell it bothered Sergey a lot.
Yeah.
hmm That's a good point. Yeah. The funny thing is, Gon. I don't know what the rankings are right now, but Gon said he doesn't want to fight down because he won against Sergey Spivak. He's like, I'm not fighting down anymore, and it's like, I mean, look, dude, I'm sorry, but like, you've had two chances at the title. Like, you gotta work to get your third. We're not just gonna give you three in four fights, because that's what it would be. It would be like two title fights in a row. Oh no, that's not true. He fought Tai Tuivasa. So three out of his last five.
I
I mean,
mean,
he really had
that,
no choice but to fight down in his last fight because everybody at that point when he was coming back was booked. Stipe
Mm.
and John, and then Sergey had just came off a fight, I'm pretty sure. Volkov and Tai Tuivasa just fought.
Yeah.
it's
So,
like Gon.
I mean, he really didn't have a
You're like
choice.
Gon's like, oh, I should get a third title shot right now. I'm sick of this. I'm standing up for the guys like Justin Gaethje who worked really hard to get another unsuccessful title shot.
That's what that we should do. If Cyril Gane shows up and he's like, on, I don't want to fight down, then just put him below Sergey in the rankings.
You know what? Since Gon doesn't want to fight down,
He's like, you're
It's
fighting
like,
up, you
I
happy?
bet.
Yeah.
you can't find an opponent for Cyril Gane. Volk steps in.
Yeah. Come from a land down under. All right. What do we do with Yuri Prohaska?
Jan Blachowicz. Wait, no, he's already booked. My bad.
Dang. That would have been my name too.
The winner of Rakic and Jan Blachowicz, or does the winner
But
of Rakic and Jan
I
Blachowicz
would
just get a title
a
shot?
fight I would love to see with Yuri is Yuri versus Johnny Walker.
Oh my
Imagine the
Oh,
chaos
Oh
in the
my
cage.
God.
That would actually make so much sense to just break up because they want to do Magomed versus Johnny Walker. That would make a lot of sense to just say, hey, you know what? Never mind. Magomed gets a title shot, and Johnny Walker
What?
is fighting is Yuri.
Okay.
I
Mm.
really,
Or
I really want Walker to starch Magomed. I really do.
or you could say, you know what, Magomed, you haven't won a fight in God knows how long, and you keep complaining. You're gonna fight Yuri Prohashka while Johnny Walker gets a title shot. So yeah,
I am not watching Pajeda versus dumb Pajeda. Okay. Now, I mean, I love Johnny Walker, but like he's like he has the physicality of Pajeda with like just I mean more physicality than Pajeda, but he just I don't know that his striking is even you know what I mean? It's like if Yuri and Pajeda had a baby, I feel.
and hey, I'm not gonna lie, with people who tend to have the most success with Alex when they press forward on him, like Jan was able to land, Yuri was able to land. Johnny Walker just might find a way for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
Dude, can you imagine if Johnny Walker knocked out Pajeda? That would be so funny, man.
Oh my goodness, that would be insane.
That would be the funniest thing that's ever happened in the sport.
Johnny Walker would be the person to pull it off too.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, Johnny
And
Walker
lastly,
lived.
No,
Okay.
feed Anthony Smith to Yuri.
he's coming off of a win. But I honestly think that winner of Magomed Walker gets a title shot. Winner of Rakic and Jan either gets a title shot or fights Yuri, depending on how active Yuri wants to be. Because if Yuri wants to be really active, then there's somebody I think like Anthony Smith or something like that that's just kind of floating around or whatever. So lastly, who gets the first title shot against Pajeda?
Um, I mean, if they want to rebook Magomed versus Johnny Walker, then I think that's a pretty convincing number one contenders fight.
It just depends on how fast Jamal Hill comes back.
Yeah, it really depends
That's
on
true.
how fast Jamal comes back.
Jamal has said that he's going to come back like soon. He said he's going to be the first one because he said that the winner of Walker and Ankalaev might have to wait their turn, and he said that before they fought the first time. So he thought that we are going to have a definitive guy. You know what I mean? Like if he thought that Magomed was like, let's say Magomed wins, he thought that Magomed was going to be ready, and so he's going to say you have to wait your turn. So he thought it was going to be enough time. So I think that he's probably going to be here ready pretty soon. So yeah, there you go.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, if Jamal comes back and fights Alex, it's not gonna help the allegations that light heavyweight is hot potato.
No, it definitely is. Even with Alex there, it's still a hot potato.
Mm-hmm.
Like anybody can beat anybody in that division, and Alex doesn't really he's not like this dominant champion or anything. Like he can be knocked out by a lot of people in this division. And yeah, I just
It's like,
light heavyweight is so weak. It's crazy.
on one hand, people hate it because it's a hot potato, but on the other hand, it always keeps it interesting at least because anyone can beat anyone.
But this is also what I was saying because even before John Jones came, light heavyweight was still a hot potato. Like anybody could beat anybody.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and now everybody is like, we all know that the light heavyweight division it's subpar at best. So the fact that anybody can get their hands on the belt, does that mean that all of these fighters are only mid at best? Or does that just say everybody is good?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and I've also thought that like if you like for example, like welterweight, like let's say Colby beats him and let's say Shavkat beats Colby and then let's say blah blah. Blah. The welterweight, and hot potatoes from now on, like which is not going to happen because Leon's awesome. But if it did, it would still have like a lot of weight to it because
Mhm.
of Kamaru. Kamaru like established it and said, I am really good. Anyone who beats me is extremely good. And so then they're carrying that onward. At middleweight, Izzy showed I'm really good. And then Sean Strickland just kind of, that was weird. So I think that lost all legitimacy immediately, unless Sean Strickland goes on like a crazy tear. But nobody beat John Jones for the belt. So it's just been like, you know, Jan Blachowicz gets it, defends it against Izzy, and then loses, and then Glover loses, and then injury. Like, I like the fact that we don't know who's going to have the belt in a year to a certain extent, but I also feel like it cheapens the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the belt wrapped around your waist does not mean a lot now in light heavyweight, because we're like, we've seen this song and dance before a million times.
And that
Yeah.
this is the kind of the argument, because this doesn't really have anything to do with, well, at least kind of doesn't have much to do with what we're talking about. But this is what I meant when I was like, the people at flyweight back when Demetrius Johnson was ruling the flyweight division. Could you imagine if they took Demetrius Johnson out of that division? That belt would definitely be going from hand to hand to hand. And that's why when I get into an argument about Mighty Mouse not having a real good heavy resume, and I was like, well, John Jones, only reason he really has a very good resume is because multiple people on his resume had a belt, because everybody could beat everybody in that division. You know, Chuck Liddell could beat anybody. Rashad Evans could beat anybody. You know, Lyoto Machida could also beat anybody. So it's like, is it really a weak resume for DJ, or does that just say how good DJ is?
Yeah.
It's an argument, and it's like, I
agree, because I'm also a DJ defender, and like people will be like, dude, you know, whatever, like this guy that DJ fought, he's not that good. I'm like, why isn't he that good? It's like, because he lost to DJ. I'm like, okay, well then that's circular reasoning. Like, you know what I mean? There's no way for me to prove like that he's good if you think that like the people that he's losing to are garbage for losing to him. You know, so yeah.
I think like that's part of what makes DJ great, and it's like, bro, I'm sick of having to defend him so much, but it's like everyone's like, oh, the flyweight division sucks, blah 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 blah, doesn't count, yada yada, even though these are some of the most skilled fighters inside the UFC, yada yada. But it's like he made a division that's normally very competitive into a division so like desperate to get him out of there that they had to make a tough season just to get him someone to fight. It's like, here's the thing, like this could, when it comes down to it, like dominant champions and stuff, the reason they're dominant is they can take a normally competitive division and make it non-competitive anymore. And I think it just makes the division look bad in comparison, when no, it's not that the division sucks. It's just that they have that one particular guy who's leagues above everyone else.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why the flyweight division, I'm telling y'all, that's probably about to start changing hands all over the place.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, like, and we'll see people, for example, say like, you know, Yair Rodriguez isn't that good. And it's like, okay, well, why? And it's like, because he lost to Volk and he lost to Max. And it's like, or you know, like Volk isn't like, that's not a good win for Volk because he lost to Volk and he also lost to Max. And it's like, okay, but it's like Volk is here. If he wasn't here, then Max would be here. And if Max wasn't here, then who knows if Yair would have just stayed there for a million years. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, if so, it's almost like suffering from success, because like no matter what, if you're the best for a long period of time, there's going to be a second best probably, but that doesn't make you better or worse. If there's a second best and then a third best, if there's a clear hierarchy of how good everybody is, or if there's just nonsense going on, it doesn't make you better or worse. So it's really hard to tell until people start going up and down in weight.
It's like, imagine if someone in the John Jones era, kind of like Dominic Reyes did, imagine him just coming up, starching everybody, and then they lose to John Jones. Does that make them a bad fighter? No, it doesn't. That just proves how good John Jones is.
And it's
but then some people would say that's a weak division because he starched everybody. Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
it's part of the reason why I don't fully get it why people hate light heavyweight so much, because it's like, all of you act like you want dominant champions, like you want these dominant fighters. But when you get dominant champions, it's not because they're just that guy, it's because their division sucks. Because clearly, Israel Adesanya, clearly all the middleweights are just bad. Volkanovski, clearly the featherweights just suck. Demetrius Johnson, they're small. Who cares? They're midgets.
Mhm.
Like, bro, there's always an excuse for dominant champions. Kamaru Usman, welterweight's just not all that, maybe. So, like, maybe y'all need to start watching light heavyweight more because, hey, everyone's very competitive there. It should be a better division by your standards.
Mhm. And like without dominant champions, we wouldn't have these moments where the dominant champion gets beat either. But okay, look, guys, it's been great. Do you have anything you want to plug?
You can follow me on TikTok at CEO Hendrix. And for you, those who don't know, we're very, very close to 3,000. I think like 34 or so away. And for those who don't know, once we reach 3,000, if I get to 3,000 by January 1st, 2024, I'm covering Go Dumb by Aljamain Sterling, otherwise known as the greatest song ever made. So yeah, y'all can have fun with that. And you can follow me on Instagram at Hendrix Faye. It should be in the description. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else.
Hendrix, I would like to propose something to you.
What?
If you get to 4,000, then you have to do a video along with it.
All
Because you're not going to get to
right.
4,000, right? Probably.
All right. If I somehow manage to get to 4,000 that quickly, then yeah, I'll do a
Okay.
video.
All right. Sounds great. Sounds great. Sounds great.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
Protag, do you have anything you want to plug?
Um, I'll actually plug my Instagram, which is also just MMA underscore protagonist. That'll be pretty easy to find. I'm about to hit 500 on there. Haven't really done much with Instagram, so I'm just deciding to
Mhm.
start that back up.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. It was a great time. Thank you all for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.